Woods, and I have with me Miss Traci Patton. I'm gonna let Miss Traci Patton talk about herself and the company that she represents. And if you have any questions or anything, hey, reach out to us at the bottom. Go ahead, Tracy. Tell us about yourself and what you got going on.
Well, thank you so very much. My name is Traci Patton. I'm a native Nashvilleian. I went to Hillsborough High School. Um, and my business is I'm a board certified health and wellness coach. I am the owner and CEO of Transformation with Traci. And let me tell you how that came about. In 2020, when everyone was having to sit down, one of the things that I started doing was I started a chill spot chat. I would just sit out my back porch and I would write daily about the things that I was going through. I was going through a growth journey. Uh, I gained a lot of weight. I was in a bad situation with my marriage. And it just really was an opportunity for me to touch in with myself and really grow. And from there, I went back to school and became a certified health and life coach. And that just really propelled me closer to my ministry. And that's what I call it, an opportunity to really help individuals navigate life to get to the best versions of themselves. And so currently, I am a full time health coach and life coach. I do a weekly Facebook live series called My Chillin' Spot Chats. I'm just very blessed that my ministry, my outreach gets the opportunity to touch people on a different level. It's really about finding that opportunity for them to be the best version of themselves, finding that journey for them. A lot of times people would want to give you a cookie cutter approach to health and healing, but what I do at Transformation with Traci is I use a body, mind, spirit connection because we're more than just what we physically do and what we eat, but what we think, what we pray, whom we pray to. And so incorporating all of that, I use that to help people find the journey that best fits them.
Okay. All right. Well, let's dive in. You ready?
Let's dive in. As long as we don't
Okay.
talk about my Titans, even though I'm wearing Titans gear.
Well, you know what? I wasn't gonna say nothing, but since you brought the Titans up, what about your Titans? Y'all gonna get the first pick? What y'all gonna do with it? Are y'all gonna get another quarterback and
Well,
coach him well? What is y'all plans?
well, I was hoping we would at least win 4 games. We only won 3. I'm going to boldly say I don't think Levis is our answer. I think he's a good backup, but I don't think he's the answer. I'm really hoping that the Titans will go for Cam. I can't think his last name right
Out of
now. Is
Miami?
it Cam Newton out of Miami?
Not
I
Cam
think he
Newton.
would. It's not Cam Newton, but it's Cam something. I
The
think Cam.
Miami quarterback. The
But he's the
Miami.
Miami quarterback, and I really hope that we go for him. Got the opportunity to watch him a couple times this year, and I just think that the kind of style he brings is kind of sort of like the offense that Callahan wants to run.
Yeah,
I
but
think, but then
y'all gonna do good at coaching quarterbacks. Y'all get running quarterbacks and y'all try to teach them to go in their pocket. So that's not gonna be good. But I'm not gonna teach y'all how to run your organization. We
right,
Pittsburgh
right.
Steelers, we got our own headaches and things that we got to deal with right now.
Well, you got to at least at Pittsburgh, you got a solid coach, and hey, you got to give Russell his credit. Everybody kind of sort of discounted him. Hey, he's really come in and stepped in and
Well,
did a really good job. So
I gave
you know,
Russell
give
his
it,
credit.
give.
I gave Russell Wilson his credit, but these last 4 games is terrible. But I mean, I can't expect stuff to change on the day of playoff. But let's go ahead and dive into this, Tracy. Let me just tell you
Okay.
to just relax and enjoy and trust the process. So first of all, how do you define success in life?
I define success in life by how people identify success. What is success for me may not be success for you. Success
Okay.
for me is being able to have a peace of mind, be able to sleep at night, being able to know that I did the best I could in helping others achieve their goals. That's my peace. That's success for me. For success for someone may be how their children behave, or the life that they live, or how much money they make. Um,
Okay.
but one of the things I really want to, when I talk to people about what success looks like, is understanding that success is not something that you can gain. I mean, in other words, it's not something outside of yourself. You are yourself successful. When you get up in the morning and you work towards your goals, you are successful. And a lot of times when we talk about success, it's this end goal, and we don't fall in love with the process. We don't trust the process. We don't embrace the process. And so
So
that's one
stop
of the
right there.
things.
Stop right there.
Mhm,
I
mhm,
think that's the most important piece of anything we do, dealing with
mhm,
personal life, dealing with work, dealing with anything that we set goals for, is
mhm,
you got to trust the process,
mhm,
go through the process, and
mhm,
allow the process to be just it, the
mhm.
process.
The
And a lot of
process.
people give up at that moment in time.
Well, what happens is, particularly when you can't fall in love with the process if you're so focused on the goal. And then, of course, you can't fall in love with the process if you don't have a goal. A lot of people start off willy nilly, like, I want to lose weight, or I want to, they have these elaborate goals or specific goals, which is good, but you got to fall in love and think about how I'm going to get there. The journey isn't just getting to 50-pound weight loss, it's embracing better eating. It's about watching what you eat, it's understanding, going to the doctor. There's so much in the process. And when we overlook that, when we don't enjoy the process, we're going to miss it. We're going to really miss the lessons, because that's the goal does not teach us the lesson. The journey does.
The journey
So
does. And,
the journey
and,
does. And so
and
when we fall in love with the journey, when we fall in love with the process, we begin to know more about ourselves. We know more about what we really want. And the best, and I'm gonna leave it at this. When you fall in love with the process, sometimes the outcome is going to change. You think you're doing all of this because you want to achieve XYZ. But as you fall in love with the journey, you fall in love with yourself. You're appreciating, you're valuing the process and all the things, and you're listening and how this is really impacting you emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially. You may be like, you know what? I thought I wanted to make $100,000 a year, but I really value this piece. I really value the freedom to come and go as I please and not be tied to a job. That, because you fell in love with the process, is going to change your outcome. So,
right. And but to go back to how you were talking about the weight loss piece, and people have different goals, and that's why my motto is no matter what goes on, and my motto comes into play: small victories leads to greater
mhm,
success.
mhm.
And we have learned just continue to take things at smaller steps and work our way to where we supposed to be going. I appreciate you for that.
Well,
What do you
the
like? Go ahead.
the bigger the goal, the larger the goal, the larger the process, the smaller the steps it has to be. A ship has
Yes.
the smallest rudder. The biggest ships have the smallest rudder. You can't, if you turn too quickly, you're gonna overturn the boat. So the bigger your goal, the smaller the steps has to be, and that's going to make you embrace the journey even more. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
You ever notice that when a construction worker is doing the frame to
Hmm.
build steps to a house, build steps going into a apartment building or even a business complex, they
Hmm.
have the frame for the outside, which
Hmm.
is what the steps is going to be laid on, that plank. And
Hmm.
each one of those, they still put one step at a time. One
Hmm.
step at a time. It can be 15, 25, 45 steps when it's done, but they still only do one at a time. You know why?
And it's in order. Yep.
You know why? So they
Why?
can climb up that step one at a time.
Hmm.
You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So yeah, good point. What core values guide your actions and decisions?
One of my core beliefs, I have a couple. I believe to whom much is given, much is required, and I believe that if you embrace your life and understand that whatever what your calling is, then it's greater than just you. None of us, all of us, are given a gift. Like, you've been given this wonderful gift, you've been given this platform. You do not have the right to keep that to yourself. You have an obligation to share your knowledge and give it to help others along the path. So, my
Right.
one is to whom much is given, much is required. My second one is kind of sort of almost opposite, is people do what they want to do. So one of the things that, as a life coach and a health coach, is I don't tell people what to do. People often come and say, well, what should I do? What do you want to do? Because if you give people the answer, they'll never figure out for themselves. And half the
Correct.
part of the journey is figuring out what you really want. And again, so people do what they want to do, and you do what fits you in that narrative at that moment. And the last one I have is that all of us need grace. Listen, none of us are perfect. All of us have fallen and made mistakes. All of us are worthy of the grace. And so now, when you give people grace and you walk in forgiveness, that doesn't mean that you'll reconnect the relationship. There's been several relationships that I've had that I no longer speak to people. It doesn't mean that I hate them. It doesn't mean that I want bad for them, but I leave them in grace. And that's another lesson too. When you're walking through the life journey, you'll understand that everybody can't go on your journey with you. So how do you release them in love and in grace so that they can prosper and you can prosper? So those are my three. That's kind of sort of my framework of how I live my life.
Well, I like that you were sharing scriptures to help guide your life.
Hmm.
I'm one that believe in using scriptures and to guide my life, and I got certain
Hmm.
scriptures that I stand on for many different reasons.
Hmm.
Some people might say, "Oh, he taking that out of context and all that." Well, if this is what I use to guide my life, and I can tell you why I use to guide my life, I don't give a care if you think that I'm
Hmm.
using it out of context. If it's guiding my life and it's
Hmm.
moving my life where it needs to go, then this is how I interpret the scripture for myself.
Hmm.
It's different
Hmm.
when I'm up there interpreting the scripture and preaching to a mass of people, but when I'm preaching
Hmm.
it to myself, it makes
Hmm.
sense. Like 2 Timothy 4:7. A lot of people have heard, I have fought a good fight. I have finished the race.
Hmm.
I have finished the course, to finish the race, and I have kept the faith. But most important for me, I like the part, I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. A lot of people use that when they go into funerals and stuff like that. But for
Hmm.
me, I use it for my personal life, and meaning that as Paul was talking, he said, "Young Timothy." He's
Hmm.
turning you over to a younger a person that can go and spread the word, and that's why they a
Hmm.
lot of times refer to young Timothy. And a lot of times, I look at things from a business aspect. Um, I think a lot of times we as people don't know how to lead when we on top, and we lead when people are asking us to lead. And I'm the type of person, I use that scripture to say, when I left correction for 27 years, juvenile correction, I have to say that I left on top. And
Hmm.
I wanted to lead that next step person who have come in. I wanted to be a younger person, more energetic, that had that
Hmm.
same fire that I had. So when
Hmm.
when, when I continue to use the scriptures and stuff into for daily devotions of my life, as I was preparing my departure from the facility, I'm like, man, here we go right here. Because when I was in it, I fought a good fight. I did what was
Hmm.
expected. I prepared myself to do
Hmm.
everything that needed to be done. Then I woke up one day and I said, "Hey, you on top? Let somebody else young come in and take this and let them use their new ideas and to reach these young folks or whoever that need to lead the organization. Let them have it. Let them your part. Let them have it."
Hmm.
So I'm glad you brought that up about the different scriptures in there. Let me ask you this as we move on. As
Hmm.
you do health and wellness coaching, that's correct?
That's right. I'm a board certified health and wellness coach. Hmm.
Okay. What do you identify to be your expertise
Okay.
or your niche, and or both together?
Um, my expertise is in bringing mind, body, spirit together in physical fitness. In other words, I have a trainer who is amazing, but I also have people who do nutrition. So I work as part of a collaborative. So that's what I do. That's what my is special about me is that I incorporate a mind, body, spirit. Some people just work on your physical. Some people just work on your mental. You have a pastor, but I'm not a pastor, but I work on all elements of when we do health life coaching. So that's a different approach. But my niche is I work with women, particularly women of color, who are either premenopausal or menopausal or postmenopausal. Particularly women of color because menopause impacts us so much differently than it does other women.
Mm-hmm.
The way our hips and just the nature of the arthritis and the things that we've carried and how we eat, all those things impact women of color different. So my niche is working with women ages 35 to 60 who are going through the menopause cycle. I am a certified wellness coach as well, and taking additional coursework. And that's something else I always like to say is I may have a lot of knowledge, but I'm not afraid of learning more. And the more I learn, the more I share with my clients, my members. So yes, my specialty is I incorporate a mind, body, spirit in everything that I do with life and health coaching. But my niche is working with women of color, but well, with all women, but particularly women of color who are going through the phases of menopause, all phases of menopause.
So you working on a more holistic approach
Yes,
of that. Okay. So
yes.
what is an outcome that you want your clients to gain from you? What is the one outcome that you want your clients to gain from you?
I want my clients to, when they work with me, I want them to feel that I understand them, that I connect with them, and that ultimately our relationship, our education, counseling together relationship is about them. It's not about me. I am a co-pilot on your journey.
Mm-hmm.
And so it for me, a successful outcome with my clients is when my clients can look and say, I've reached my destination successfully. Thank you for going with me. Or
Sound like you just
I've
got
got
through
further.
flying
Yeah, we just
Southwest.
got through flying. And hey, thank you for going with me. And hey, I got it from here. I can fly solo. That's cool. Can I check on you sometime? That to me, that's a successful. When people don't see the process all the way through, that's frustrating for me. Not because I don't want it, not because it's necessarily about me, but it's so hard to watch people, and I'm sure this happens to you. You see people abandon it too soon.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
reach that they're so close to their breakthrough, but because what we know is better than what we don't know. The travel is hard. The mountains are hard to climb. People just say, "Well, I'm gonna stay right here," and they never see what's on the other side. So so my joy of working with my clients is yes, it's successful when a client can look at me and say, "Thank you for getting me to my destination. I can make it from here." Because the journey of your life doesn't stop just because our counseling sessions or just because our sessions in. You got to keep going. And but also the hardest part is watching people give up so soon.
You know, with that said, I think one of the hardest things that we deal with in having clients or just having friends, people, family, is that with being critical and being a critic to ourselves can be
Hmm.
both good and both bad.
Hmm.
When we're a critic to ourselves and we give up and we don't want to do it anymore or whatever we have set the goal to be, that's not a good thing because
Hmm.
you really just discourage yourself.
Hmm.
But I think being a critic to yourself and you use it to continue to reach your goals, to get
Hmm.
those steps. And then when you finally realize, hey, I done accomplished one thing, I got to accomplish something else.
Hmm.
I think that's when you are being critical to you.
Hmm.
Is the critique is helping you get where you got to
Hmm.
go because it's going to prepare you for your next journey because it's going to be
Hmm.
another journey coming. You know, it
Yeah.
is what it is, and we and I think the key part with that is what I tell everybody, including myself. We got to learn to get out of our own way.
Yes. Yes.
When we put self in the way, it hinders us from growing,
Hmm.
moving, and
Hmm.
reaching next levels.
Hmm.
Period.
Hmm. And you said something really key. In life and health coaching, we talk about the inner critic. Even when I was a therapist for many years as well, and we talk about the inner critic. That's
Mhm.
that negative self talk. And one of the things that has to happen is you have to turn off the negative self critic and embrace the mantra of I'm growing, I'm doing better. This is propelling me forward. Many people stop, like you said, because they that inner critic is negative. You're never gonna do it. You ain't gonna make it. You ain't worth nothing. And those are messages that we have adopted that other people have told us along the way, and we've internalized it and made about us. One of the things that I definitely work on as part of life and health coaching is turning off that inner critic,
Mhm.
reframing those words to say, who said that to you? Because that didn't come from you. You don't think you're worthless.
Right.
Who gave you that letter? Who gave you those words? And then we say, okay, so what you do is you give it back. That ain't
Give it
got
back
nothing to do
to
with
them.
me. That ain't got nothing to do with me. You and I mean, I've even done things like with clients, like write a letter of all the person who said the thing to you, and write it down and then burn it. Send it back to them. That ain't got nothing to do with you. That's somebody else's voice, and you need to get that out of your head and out of your spirit, and begin to define who you really are. That's one of those ways in which we can, silence that inner critic. And like you said, turn that negativity into positivity. Speaking over, because the Bible says you got to speak over yourself. You got to watch what you put in your mind and your head. You got to watch, because the battle is not outside of yourself. The battlefield is in the mind. And what you
Yeah.
tell yourself and what you believe about yourself, you're going to manifest. And so if you believe you can't do it, then guess what?
You're
You
not
ain't
gonna
going to
do
do it. You're not going to
it.
do it. If you say you're not good enough, then guess what? You ain't good enough. So one of the ways that we work together, I work with clients on their health and life coaching, is taking those words and reframing them and
Mm-hmm.
getting rid of that. Because that's where is that taking you? And again, most of the times that's a label that someone gave you. It's not something that you taught yourself. I'm sorry. So,
Yeah, but one of the things that I teach a lot of my leaders, and I try to guide with them is, I always like to give them an empty trash can,
mm,
and they look at me like I'm crazy. I say, I need you to use this,
mm,
and they're like, I don't understand where you're going with it, and I let them know, use this in life, even though I'm teaching you this at work, or through a counseling or through training. Use
mm,
this
mm,
personal, spiritual, anything.
mm,
If you allow people to give you stuff to fill up that trash can, then don't get mad when you realize you were full of garbage.
mm,
Because you don't allow the people to always dump garbage on you. And it's people have to understand part of mental health is knowing it's okay to say no.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? And for you to focus on yourself, because if you can't focus on yourself, you can't. It's hard to help others, because whatever issue, and I would tell people, as a part of a leader is to understand your clientele, number one, and number
mm,
two is to understand your subordinates, your workers, and
mm,
sometimes understanding your subordinates and your workers. Even though we got this thing, we got to treat everybody the same, but on
mm,
the flip side, you got to treat everybody different. That means you getting to know each one of your employees as much as you possibly can. And
mm,
sometimes that means allowing them the opportunity to come in and vent about something that ain't got nothing to do with work. But
mm,
because what a lot of people don't understand, the things that goes on with people at their homes, we want to teach everybody, don't bring work to home and home to work, but that is
mm,
more. A lot of people don't know how to deal with that. You got people dealing with some serious mental health issues and some serious issues, and if you are not able to be a listening ear, I didn't say give them resolution, but
right.
sometimes you got to be a listening ear so that
Mm,
they understand. Man, I got somebody in my corner, and you ain't said nothing.
mm,
Allow them. I mean, that's probably the only time they're gonna get to vent, and then that's
mm,
gonna sometimes gonna help them. I know when we're dealing with all these kids, 85 kids, 65 kids, and you got staff on a couple of shifts, and you got to get yourself focused to handle all of that. And then if
mm,
you're not focused, you're gonna explode on somebody for your own personal issues.
mm. Well,
So
I have a saying that you can't give what you don't have. That is one of the things that I tell all of my clients. You can't give what you don't have. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Because if I only got $20 and you ask me for $20, not only am I giving you my last, I'm giving you out of my lack. And that's where a lot of mental health issues come, because people are giving out of their lack. You don't have the energy to give to this other person or this situation. And so now you're giving out of this lack. You're broke emotionally, mentally, financially, and now you're complaining because you keep giving out of your lack. You cannot give what you don't have. And so one of the things that I really do embrace when I do coaching with people is to start with what's in your cup. Now, is this your stuff or is this somebody else's stuff? Because we're only going to focus on your cup. So if your child acting up, or your husband is this and your job is that, We're going to talk about those things, but are those in your cup? What can you really do about your job, your crazy supervisor at your job? You got some options. You can learn how to deal with it. You can quit. I mean,
And you
I mean,
know,
I mean,
and
I'm not being facetious when I say
no,
that, but
not
what I'm
being
saying is
facetious.
we have to build up to what's in your cup, what you can deal with, and what's tolerable and respectable for you. Because at the end of the day, it's your life. And as you mentioned, you are more than just what you do at work. And you don't want that. And as much as we try to separate what happens at work, it bleeds into home. And then again, if you're not getting your cup filled at work, and then you come home and you're giving out your lack, you're going to explode at both places. So,
Well, I don't know about most people. When the bank says you got insufficient funds, it ain't too much more you can get up out of
well, no, no, you can't. That's,
there. I
that's
mean,
not.
just prove
You,
it.
you, you gotta. I mean, yeah.
It ain't no nothing.
But you gotta have a plan. You gotta have a plan. And that's where the plan. That's where I work with. Like I learned the hard way. I had a supervisor that like wasn't even a supervisor. She was a peer. Was driving me crazy, and I couldn't understand. I kept looking for God's lesson. I'm like, well, God, how do you want me to deal with her? So I would deal. I was like, and I stood my ground. That didn't work. I tried to be like really nice to her. That didn't work. And finally, I realized that I was praying for the wrong thing. I was asking God to change her, and the whole time God was changing me. The whole time He was teaching me lessons that make me a better, effective life and health coach. So now, when I think about all the things she taught me, that's why I'm an effective coach because I didn't situations come in our lives for them not for the person not to be changed, but for you to change, for you to
Mhm.
grow, for you to evolve. And so as a coach, that's one of the things I do is when I said, well, we got some options here because we can't change your supervisor. You got to work, bills got to be paid. NES don't care if you don't get along with your boss or not. We know that. But you do have options of how you're going to respond. You have to have a plan. And and that totally works on what the goals you have. If you want peace, then we're going to work on having peace. If that means that you got to go sit in your car through the lunch break to separate yourself. Those might sound small, but those are legit small
That's
steps
real.
to
That's real.
help you reach your goal of having peace in your workplace.
Well, and you talked about something, and that's the whole aspect of what the raw approach is. The raw
Hmm.
approach is identifying hardcore lessons. A lot
Hmm.
of people, that complains about supervisors, and I
Hmm.
ask people, well, before we complain about the supervisor, let's talk about you.
Hmm.
Do you know what different types of leadership styles there is?
Hmm.
And most importantly, do you know what type of leadership style best helps you?
Hmm.
And then everybody get this blank look because they've never been taught from that aspect. And that's where
Hmm.
I have assessments and tools to identify that for them. Then on the flip side, I ask a lot of leadership people in leadership, do they understand their leadership style?
Hmm.
And a lot of them, when they get it, you got some that do. But the thing is, they don't necessarily know how to put a name or a title with it. Or
Hmm.
you got some that don't know their leadership style. You
Hmm.
got some people in leadership positions just want to be in that leadership position so they can tell people what to do, which is sad,
Hmm.
but there's more to it than that. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Hmm.
So I totally get it. All right, let me ask you this.
Well, I was going to say this a lot, and we also have to be mindful that a lot of people take power positions to work out their own internal issues. It ain't got nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
A lot of people take power positions to work out their own issues. And so I have worked with someone who was in a position of leadership, and we were able to get to the core of really what was going on with her, which was everything how she was treating her people was a reflection of what was going on from her childhood, her trauma. And I referred her to a therapist because I did want to say I'm a health life coach. I'm not a therapist, even though I've
Mhm.
been a therapist. I will take you to a certain point. Like we will start where you are and go forward. But when we start talking about childhood trauma and things like that, I'm gonna refer you to a therapist. Um, but we were able to really get down to. She was coming for career coaching, and we were able to get to you're not moving up the corporate ladder because you're using these power positions as a way to act out and get verification, validation from childhood issues. And that was a big step for her. So I just want to say that too. Yeah.
No, that's perfect. One of the big things that I strongly encourage in dealing with work is work-life balance.
Hmm.
And I find that to be a very serious topic. Some people
Hmm.
is able to make it happen. Some people don't even know what that looks like. So
Hmm.
when you're talking to your people or even yourself, how do you keep this balance? And how do you explain work-life balance to your clients?
We first, for myself, it is a little more challenging because my work is my life. I'm a health coach. I work as a health coach. I live the mantra that I'm trying to teach. So a lot of it for me bleeds over because what I do is I want to be an example, not just for the people I work for, but for myself. I mean, I want to be all the things that I'm asking and encouraging other people to be. I want to be the best version of myself.
Hmm.
So for me, the balance comes because, and I don't know the way to say this, might not sound fancy, but I just ask people what you really want. Do you want to be able to come home and spend 20 minutes with your children before, what's important to you? Do you want to come home and be able to spend 20 minutes with your kids reading books? Do you want to be able to have, work out in the mornings? What is your balance? How do you find time for you to meet the things and the needs that you have for yourself? And
Okay.
then that comes down to, then what are you willing to say no to? Because no, you're going to be, in order to have that work life balance that you want, you're going to have to say no to something. You can't do everything. It's like going to a buffet. You can put everything on your plate, but you're not going to eat everything. Then
Right.
before you know it, you just got a plate full of mess because you've picked up everything. What legitimately is important to you? Is having a job with flexibility and freedom more important, or do you having money or having a high paying job that you travel a lot? Which one is important? Because if you want a job where you travel a lot, you're gone, 6 days out the month, then yeah, that's going to bleed over to what you can actually do when you're at home. So when you get home, yeah, you're not you got to wash clothes, you got to you got to walk your dog, you got to do things like that. So finding that balance really is about what's important to you. Once you identify what's important to you, then you'll begin to make the decisions to help you find that balance. If reading to your kids and being home every night is important to you, then that's one of the things that we'll work toward. If providing for your family means you're gonna drive a truck and you're gonna be gone 5 days out the week because it's more what's important for you is for your kids or your family to have that financial stability, then that's what we work on. And so how then when you're home, the days you are home, how can you be more present? But that also means you can't say, you got to tell nobody, hey, I've been gone for 5 days. It's important for me to spend time with my kids. No, I can't come hang out with the boys. No, I can't go ride motorcycles today. No, does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's what you want to achieve in your life, and then understanding that you can't. And when people say, well, you can have it all, you can if you want to be crazy. If you want to be crazy and tired and frustrated all the time, yeah, you can have it all. You can show up at every sorority meeting, fraternity meeting. You can participate in every community service event. You can go to every parent child meeting. You can work 75 hours a week, and then try to make it to the gym. Someone's gonna give.
Something's gonna give.
Someone's gonna give.
Something's gonna
So
give.
you have to decide to find that work life balance. What do I really want?
Okay.
What's really important to me? I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. If it don't make sense to me, it's gonna make sense to somebody. So somebody understand that they trying to do A B C D E F G H I J K, and it's
Element
one
on MP.
element P. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And element on P. The alphabet soup as a whole.
Hmm.
What is one of the best compliments that you ever received from one of your clients?
Thank you.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, I like to share funny stories to break the nerves of my patients, my customers, and students. Why you laughing? Do you have a funny story that you tell your people in order to break that monotony, that to loose them up to really for them to dive in with your sessions or what they about to get to, especially when you do your consultation?
I don't necessarily have a funny story that I tell every time, but then this is the one of the funniest stories that I tell. When people talk about like not getting it sometimes or like missing the mark, I tell them this story. Say, listen, honey, I work for a company, and they sent me on location in Atlanta to a hospital, to Grady Hospital, and I was there to enroll and get people involved for the health coaching for the company I work for, and so I had to use the ladies' room. So the closest one was a door that said ICU. So they let me in, and I go in, and there's just people all over the place, and
Mm-hmm.
they got masks on, and somebody, there's one person that's like fully in a body cast, and I'm already like, oh my, am I breaking HIPAA laws? I'm all nervous, and so then I'm like, all these people are that, and I'm like, I just stick my hand out, and I'm like, Lord, just bless everybody in here. Look, why was it a bunch of dummies? It was not the real wing. It was the practice wing for the doctors, and so I'm praying over dummies. People, they were not real. I was really in there testifying, laying the hands on mannequins. I was laying the hands. So
Well, at least the mannequin got healed.
I was laying the hands on mannequins. So
Hey,
when people talk about, you just seem so smooth. No, no, I was in Grady Hospital laying hands on mannequins, asking
hey.
God to deliver and have them get up and walk. And if they had got up and walked, they had got
Now,
up and walked, I'd have ran
if
up
them
out of there.
mannequins got up and walked, I think them new doctors would have left you and them mannequins right there. Here you
Right
thought
there.
you done raised some people from Lazarus, like Lazarus, and they gonna get up out of there because them were mannequins. Well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm goofy, so that's usually when I'm goofy on several levels. But I've done a lot of things that make people laugh. But those are just usually it depends on the client. If the client is saying something, I can tell them a story like, look, this is when I was goofy. This is when I missed the mark. But the mannequin thing makes always make somebody laugh.
all right, Tracy, as we about to wrap this up, I always like to ask people, feel free to ask me any questions, any concerns, or anything that you want to ask me. It's my time to flip the script. So if you have anything you want to ask.
What motivates you? You've got a wonderful platform. What motivates you?
Well, I've been in the industry for now 30 years, from youth corrections, group homes, and also adult mental health.
Mhm.
Uh, and a lot of time for me, it always came to the point, it wasn't the clients, the residents, or the patients. The issues came between the staff and leadership.
Mm.
And my goal is that's why I did my dissertation on
Mhm.
focusing on what can be done to curtail um, turnover.
Mm. Mhm.
Coming from the Department of Children's Services, turnover was high then, and up until I finished my dissertation not too long ago in 2024, when the here at the state of Tennessee, one of the data showed that here, the Davidson County specifically, I think the Department of Children's Services was having like 123% turnover rate.
Mhm.
Now, anybody that know 123% is higher than 100%.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
I was like, it don't shock me because as you change commissioners and you change staff and all that type stuff, and then, with long hours and dealing with, in today's time, kids are harder to handle for
Mhm.
many different reasons, maybe because, I got more kids with mental health issues now.
Mhm.
So 123% told me, even before I started diving and reading the article, tells me that not only are you losing all the staff that you bring in through the front door, but
Mhm.
you are starting to lose some of your veterans. You are starting to
Mhm.
lose some of your experienced people. You are
Mhm.
starting to lose quality people. And so with that, my passion has always been uh, I want to keep quality staff there. I'm currently writing a book about the raw approach,
Mhm.
and as I'm constantly revising and doing articles for my dissertation to go into the journal. But on this aspect, my next book I'm gonna write focuses on leadership by default,
Mm.
and I'm gonna go into that in a very different perspective. There's both pros and cons, but it's just I always want to be the one to help a staff member be the best staff member they can be. But
Mhm.
also on the flip side, I want to talk with organizations and organization leaders to say, hey, I need you to be better than what you are expecting from your people.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I'm big on servant leadership. Servant
Mhm.
leadership saying you show me what you want. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You set the example.
Exactly.
And but that's why it's important when I ask people, do you know the type of leader that you want? Do you know the type of leader it takes to lead this type of staff over here? Because I tell people all the time, what works for McDonald's is not going to work for Burger King.
Right. Right.
I'm just
Right.
saying, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and what didn't work for Kmart don't mean it's going to work for Walmart. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
Right.
just because a lot of things is similar, don't mean that it's going to work. And one
Mhm.
thing we do know, Bojangles, Popeyes, Kentucky Fried Chicken is totally different than Chick-fil-A.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I think Chick-fil-A has a management tool that works, dealing with courtesy and
Mhm.
being polite to not only the
Mhm.
employees, but to the people. And I think organizations have to find what works for them.
Mhm.
You don't have to mimic what somebody else is doing, but what is it that works for you? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's one. You have another?
Um, if you could achieve your dream right now, what would it be?
I'm living my dream.
Hmm. Good
I'm
answer.
living. I'm living my dream right now. I enjoy coaching people, consulting with them, and helping them to become better people in the workplace.
Mhm.
Uh, and but dealing with real life issues.
Mhm.
You're not going to be a wonderful supervisor tomorrow. You ain't going to be an outstanding employee today. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I like to see, and this is stuff that I crack up about. I like to see people that always, when I was in a position, mainly as the director of operations security at the juvenile detention center, I used to
Mhm.
love the people here. Boy, I can't wait to hear leave because I can't wait to get this job. I'm going to do this job. Blase, 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 blase.
Right.
But I always tell people my passion makes things look easy
Right.
because I have a passion for it. And
Mhm.
so when I leave, I try to give people the tools to make themselves better. At
Mhm.
any job, I want to always have a successor. You know what I'm saying? You got some people just feel, oh, just go, you can go here, I got this. And
Right.
then, but when I see past supervisors that I have came in contact, past floor workers, see them, watching them lead organizations now, becoming supervisors, that type stuff lets me know that what I'm doing is in purpose. It's a lot of time it don't be drastic information. A lot of times it's just all about having that listening ear, like I was talking about earlier,
Mhm.
and showing people what my expectations is, and rephrasing and
Mhm.
asking them to tell me from their perspective what they thought the directions I just gave them. Because
Mhm.
what I realized in today's society, um, the absence of communication is that we assume that communication was had. And
Mhm.
so when you send somebody out to go do what you ask them to do and they don't do it, don't get frustrated with them because you didn't make sure that they knew what they was doing.
Mhm. Mhm.
You just there because you gave a directive that they knew. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you can say, go dig this hole for me. And you might think you might say, okay, I need the hole to be 4 feet deep. Did you give that specific direction or did you say go dig a hole? Don't get
Right.
mad at me if I took a shovel and just took a scoop of dirt and said I'm done.
Right.
But
Right.
that's where a lot of organizations and leaders go wrong. They automatically assume and think that people understand the order or the record that was given.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Traci, lead the people. We the people, lead the people
Mm-hmm.
with a quote, a motto, or a statement that you want them to remember you from, to give them guidance, power, or whatever. Leave them with something.
Everything that you want to be, you already are. You just got to find it. And if
I
you
like
need someone to help you on that journey, please feel free to reach out to me. I am at transformationwithtracy.com. That's my website. You can also find me at Traci Patton and Transformation with Tracy on Facebook, Instagram, Transformation Tracy on TikTok. But the best way is just reach out to me. Um, you don't have to go through this journey by yourself. Because everything you want to achieve, you already are.
I was
You
just
just
about
got to.
to tell you to give it to
We,
them again.
yeah. Oh,
All right.
my Facebook, Tracy Patton, Transformation with Tracy, and my website, transformationwithtracy.com.
All right, Tracy, I thank you for your time and your attention. To the audience, hey, stay tuned. The Raw Approach will be coming with new live stuff for 2025. So I want everybody to get fit, stay alive, let's thrive in 2025. Remember, small victories lead to greater success. And I am Dr. Woods, and you have just been hit by the Raw Approach.